So it is currently Sunday. Yesterday was super crazy. I had customers for almost 12 hours straight coming to dig through the new hardscape materials. It was super busy, but all of that was in preparation for today. I am in the process of driving to New York City, to the airport up there, to pick up my order of fish. But today I will spend approximately 8 hours in my car to go pick up fish and then get home and have to get them all into tanks. I'm also making a stop to photograph some Soelia marmorata, a little hillstream loach fry, which is, I believe, the first U.S. spawn of this fish. A buddy of mine is a really accomplished hillstream species breeder, so I'm going to stop by with my fancy pants camera and try and get him some good images so he can document the process. So I will show you guys little clips throughout the day of what this entails. This driving part's not very exciting, so I'll see if if I can get any shots at the airport for you, but if not, I'll be thinking of you. So as you can tell by the irritating styrofoam sound, I have gotten my fish and I'm on my way home, and I didn't stop to film because it is snowing like crazy, and I just want to get home before things get too sloppy. I guess apparently there's some sort of crazy blizzard-like conditions that are supposed to be occurring, so I assume I'll see some spawns in the
Watch
fish.
out, vehicle stopped on shoulder ahead.
Why does Waze always do that? I took a brief look in the box and everything looked pretty good. Now, quite a few things that I ordered didn't come in, and I got some things that I wasn't expecting. But all in all, it was a pretty successful day. So I will update you guys when we get home. So I am back from the airport through high wind advisories, which were very exciting. My first box opened, and I'm gonna pull out some fish to put them away. This particular box is from India, and I am extremely excited about it because it has rainbow pipefish, which are incredible. And it looks as though, oh, there's babies in the bag. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see or not, but there's little hair-like things floating around, which is baby pipefish, which isn't at all uncommon. The males carry the babies, and the stress of shipping can cause them to abort, though these look to be near full-term babies. Looks like I just have one male dead, which is not bad. Now, the other thing with these fish is they eat only live food. There's one baby. It's definitely alive. They eat only live food, so I set up, and not just any live food, like you can't feed them baby brine. They need a higher nutritional content, so I got a bunch of Endler's live bears from a friend, and then I'll feed them white worms, and I'll try and supplement them with frozen food, but it will really depend. So I'm just going to go through and open every bag, check them real quick, and get them into a tank. These are some of the pipefish. See, they're very reminiscent of seahorses. Super cool critters. But probably the most challenging fish I've ever kept. This is one of the surprises. A huge tank of half-beaks, which, while they're a neat fish, they're not really one that I'm particularly partial to, but who knows, maybe I'll love them. These are Indian green caridina shrimp that are currently called caridina babalti. They're pretty awesome green shrimp that doesn't really hybridize with anything else on the market. Historically, they come in really crappy, so we'll have to see how they do. These are some zebra type L236 high pancistrus plecos. For Araceurophthalmoides or the spice rasbora, Indian hatchets, blue shrimp, Nawella delicata, which are Horseface Vietnamese loach, pretty neat. CPD, silver coolie loaches, Paragerdoni, and many, many more. Here you can see the male carrying babies inside its abdominal pouch. That is a baby pipefish, right in the middle of the screen there. It's the next morning and I have just gone around and done water changes on all the new critters. Now I know a lot of people give me flack for doing everything manually, but I think it's really important when things are in quarantine to look at them very closely. So I go through and I vacuum the bottom of every tank with new fish every day for that first week minimum. This way I can see if they're eating, what they're eating, if they're pooping, if they're dying. And I'm really forced to look super close at the fish because, as you can imagine, with fish this tiny, it's very easy to miss illness unless you're really looking at them. The same thing goes for shrimp. Now I put these green Caridina babaltes into a 75-gallon tank. And that's for a very good reason. Through experience, I've learned that these guys just do not import well, and the more volume, the better. And again, I keep them on bare bottom at the beginning so that I can see how they're doing, if they're molting, if they're not molting, and if any are dying, which is really critical. And they also get daily big water changes to encourage molting and growth. In this time, I also feed pretty heavily. For fish, mainly live or frozen foods. For shrimp, high quality natural diets. And this lets me have them hold still so I can do macro photography to look for any disease. Some fish move so fast that without doing macro photography every day, or at least a couple times a week, you really can't tell if they're coming down with anything. These are the Indian hatchets. And then some tanks I have to get creative. I don't have many lids in my fish room. And this species, which are Vietnamese horseface loaches, are notorious for leaving the tank. So I've put fish box lids on the top so that they can't escape during quarantine. Another really tough one to photograph are these coolie loaches. I dropped the pellet in here just to get them to all come out, and you can see it's like a pile of writhing worms. Also, I've talked about this before, but every quarantine tank gets its own set of equipment that I label. So you can see this is the coolie siphon. I also label the tank with what it is, often in handwriting that only I can read, unfortunately. And then I put the date of arrival. And if I end up having to medicate, I'll also label on that tape as well. And I just use painter's tape because it's easy to remove. Another shrimp tank. Now this one's a 29-gallon. See, everybody looks pretty darn good. The other thing that I do in all of these quarantines is to drop a square of polyfilter in the tank. I'm doing daily water changes, but especially with fish as rare, uncommon, and awesome as pipefish, really any fish I get in, I want to make sure that I do water changes before any ammonia builds up. Now, all of my quarantine tanks have been running for many, many years, so they are well cycled. But anytime you add a large fish load, you have to be conscientious of ammonia. These guys are so cool. And I have these guys in with endlers to feed them, as well as supplementing them with worms and shrimp. So as you guys can see, after 12 hours of packing fish today, my fish room is in absolute chaos. But I wanted to thank you guys for taking the time to watch, and I hope you got something out of this further explanation and demonstration of my quarantine procedures. And let me know what you guys do for quarantine. Also, make sure you stop by my website, MsJinx.com, where you can find my upcoming speaking engagements, my current stock list, and information on all things nano, as well as my Facebook page. As always, if you have any comments, suggestions, or questions, other than to clean up my space here, let me know in the comment box below.